Test. 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 I don't use climbing tape. I never have. I never will. I mean, why would I? Josh from Suck It Slab doesn't use tape, and he's the climbiest climber I know.
Hey Josh, do you use tape on your hands?
No.
I once saw him climb a shark with only his fists. Fight a shark with only his fists, not climb, nothing to do with climbing. It was still impressive though, and there was no tape involved from what I recall. Although it's hard to recall anything because I was so scared and running away from this imaginary scenario that I just made up in my head. It would have to take some pretty convincing visual evidence of some incredibly painful finger abrasions for me to even consider wrapping my fingers in tape. Yeah, I should probably try this whole tape thing. I've never taped my fingers while climbing, but today that changes. Because today I am going to tape my fingers while climbing. I didn't really need to set it up that way. It's probably pretty obvious what I was getting at. Recently, however, I've been climbing a lot at a brand new gym called Rendezvous Climbing Gym. And because it's brand new, their holds are new. And their holds are very, as new holds are gonna be, textured. So my fingies are very, very pink at the tips. So I do need to maybe tape up the tips of my fingers so that I can climb without pain and maybe give my fingers a chance to heal. Smart people would probably just not climb for a few days, and that will be the healing that the fingers need. I'm not a smart people. Theoretically, I mean, you would figure that it shouldn't really make that much of a difference. The tape is very thin. You should still be able to feel through the tape. So feeling the holds and the nuances of the holds, I think will still be feasible. Maybe what I fear more is the loss of grip. Hopefully maybe the grip comes from the tension of the forearm barreling down rather than the actual texture of the finger itself. But I guess that's what we'll find out. So I am a little worried that my climbing won't be as good. I'm a little worried that I'm gonna spend way too much time actually taping up my fingers. And also, I'll be honest, some of my fear might even be that it turns out taping my fingers is really helpful, and therefore I will feel like I need to do it every single time. And that would add a few minutes to my climbing sessions every day, basically. Not to mention the amount of tape I would go through, so tape's not super cheap. So yeah, there's a lot of things I'm kind of curious about and trying to, and I'm hoping that I learn a few things. I'm hoping I figure some things out in this climbing session today. Or I won't learn anything, and you will have all wasted your time watching this, and I will have wasted my time making it. My first attempts to put tape on my fingers were laughable. I thought, how hard can it be to put tape on fingers? I mean, I accidentally get tape on my fingers all the time when I'm doing my arts and crafts. Getting tape on my fingers on purpose should be no problem, right? And while that turned out to be mostly true, taping my fingers did actually turn out to be difficult, but kind of in an unexpected way. That first lesson I learned is that one cannot be stingy with tape. It will come off immediately if you use not enough. And it's expensive, yes. It's annoying to apply, yes. It makes climbing harder, yes. It's hard to tear sometimes, yes, yes. But if you're gonna use tape, use tape. Your fingers should not look like barely haloed angels, but instead they should look like fully mummified hot dogs. So putting tape on my fingers actually was kind of easy. The hard part was putting enough tape on my fingers. That was kind of hard to stomach. But once I learned this, I took to the walls. And it was perfect. I could just cut the video now. It was great. Let me tell you, climbing with tape on your fingers sucks. I know Alice Magos uses tape, and a lot of it, but he's basically one of those shark punching climbers, so he can kind of do what he wants. For me, tape keeps my fingertips from forming around crimps, and not just the full crimps like you might expect. I never full crimp. That wouldn't be a problem for me. I'm more of an open crimper for life. But even then, the tape prevented any kind of solid grasp, surprisingly. And even on jugs, a hold I thought would laugh in the face of tape, even jugs proved difficult. Often my hands just slipped right off. Like this. Look, I'm not anti-tape. Tape can be used to protect the skin, to provide support for fingers, and can even be used as a writable surface for neat in-camera title cards. Pa, pa. I did that pretty literally. Probably could have put something that's more contextually relevant. But for all the good that tape can do, I couldn't look past the problems. And I know these problems are of my own making. I should have taken rest days following the first signs of pinkening fingertips. I should have treated tape with more respect. I should have donated to pro-tape causes like Christmas presents and the organization to make video game fighter characters look super badass. I should not have ignored my local chapter of Amvigushisb. But I didn't. I didn't do those things, and I paid the price. I had to suffer through some weak climbing sessions, resulting in me feeling bad about myself, all because I refused to take a rest. I should have accepted my climbing buddy's offer for intervention. Though if I accept an offer to go to the intervention, it's not really an intervention, it's more of an invitation. And you really can't be invited to an intervention if you're the subject of the, I don't know, words are hard. Overall, I used tape for 3 sessions. Thankfully, over those 3 sessions, my fingers healed. I'll say admirably. So, good job, fingers. Putting tape on my fingers was never something that I wanted to have to do. But eventually, I just had to accept that the degree of pink on my fingertips was absolutely not normal, and the degree of pain that I was feeling absolutely was not normal. And then if I wanted to continue climbing, I would have to take a reasonable break from my fingers. I usually take at least 1 rest day a week, and 5 or so days a week I'll go climbing, sometimes between 30 minutes up to maybe an hour or 2. There's a lot of rest in there as well, though. So for the most part, I feel like I don't really climb too much. But for some reason, recently, over the past few weeks, my fingertips have become very raw and they needed a break. And so I decided to not do that and instead use tape. But using tape was honestly such a bad experience for me that I think my eyes are open to taking proper rests instead of relying on tape. So we'll see how much I stick to that. You know, I say that now. But rest days are hard. I don't want to do them. Alex Magos, for example, wraps his fingers in so much tape, he doesn't need toilet paper anymore. Oh, that's a painful image.